class, welcome to another episode of Inspired Moments with Jumoke. My name is Jumoke, and in today's class I'll be showing you how to draft panel skits. Okay, it can be 6 panel, it can be 12 panel, it can be 4. Once you get the gist, as in you get the how to draft it, you can make it as many panel as possible. So for this particular class, we'll be focusing on 6 pieces skirt or 6 panel skirt. So we're drafting 6 panels. Okay, now the measurements you require the waist circumference, the hip circumference, and the skirt length. Also you require the knee length and the hip length. Okay, so that means from the waist to the hip, the length. All right, so those are the measurements you require for this this pattern that I'm drafting. The waist is 28.5. okay, and the hip is 40 inches, and the hip length is 8 inches. This is a petite person. The hip length is 8 inches, and the full length is 36 inches. Okay, the skirt length is 36 inches. The knee length is 20 inches. Okay, all right, so those are the measurements. The first thing I'm going to do now is to draw my perimeter lines. So I'm just going to draw a straight line from the head here to demarcate where I'll start my measurement from. Now I want to draw a square, or a rectangle. Actually, it's a rectangle. Now, to determine the width of the paper I'm going to be requiring, I need the hip measurement. The hip measurement is 40 inches. So if I divide that by 6, that's like less than 7 inches. So I'm just going to use approximately 7 inches, okay, at least for this to draw the perimeter. And then I want to add maybe like 5 inches on both sides at least. Okay, so I'm going to draw a perimeter of the 17 inches by 36 inches, which is the length of my skirt. Okay, so this is this up to here is 17 inches, and I'm going to extend the line to 36 inches. Okay. Okay, so this is the line I'll be using for drafting. So I'm going to find the midpoint of this rectangle now and draw a straight line. So the midpoint is like 8.5. I have it marked out here, so I'm just going to draw the lines out. If this is your first time in on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification so that you get notified each time I upload a new video. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark my parallel lines, which is, first I'm going to mark the hip length, then the knee length. I already have my skirt length here. So I said the hip length is is 8 inches. And I'll be using 1 inch band. Okay, you will notice that I only use 36 inches here. So when I had my 1 inch band, that is 37 inches, and I'll take in, okay, actually the length is 36.5, and then I'll take in maybe half an inch for the hemming allowance here. So that's why I have 36 here. So I'm assuming there's 1 inch band here. So I'm going to place my tape at 1 inch up, then measure my 8 inches. Okay, so it's right here, and the nail length is 20 inches, which is right here. So I'm going to draw the lines to demarcate that. in our complete dressmaking class, we have a full class dedicated, a full module, complete module dedicated to skirts. So we have like 8 different skirts or more in that module. If you are interested, the class is 3,000 naira. There's a link to all my class, to my how you can get in touch with me below this, so you can get in touch. All right, so moving on, now we begin to draft our panel. This center line represents the midpoint, like the fold point of our pattern. So whatever I'm doing now, for instance, if I'm calculating my hip line, it will be on both sides. You get it when we start calculating. That's the fun part. Now we'll start from the waist. The waist circumference is 28.5. So if we divide that into 6, we'll have like a 5 3/4, yeah, or 4 3/4, 4 3/4. If we divide 28.5 into 6, we're going to have like 4 3/4. So you divide 4 3/4 into 2 to get what you have on both sides, or straightforward divide your waist measurement by 12, which is what I'm going to do. So I need 6 panels, so I'll be dividing my waist measurement with 12. That means if I want to make 12 panels, I'll be dividing by 24. So if I'm making 4 panels, I'll be dividing by 8. If I'm making 10 panels, I'll be dividing by 20, on like that. So my waist is 28.5 divided by 12. I have 2 3/4. I mean 2 3/8, not 2 3/4, please. 2 inches 3/8. So I'm going to measure it on both sides of my line, on my center line. Okay, so you mark it. Then we'll come down to the hip line here. Okay, and then we'll divide the hip by 12. We'll have 3 inches 3/8. So I'm going to measure it on both sides of my line, 3 inches 3/8. Okay, then at the knee area here, I'm going to come up by like 2 inches or 2.5 inches, because I want my flare to start, I don't want it to start exactly on the knee length. So you can go as far as you want. You know, there's some styles that you have your flare on under the butts. Okay, but this one I'm just going 2.5 inches up. So at that 2.5 inches mark, I'm going to put my waist measurements, because we want it to be pencil. So if you don't want it to be pencil, maybe you are making for an adult who doesn't want it to be pencil, want to have a lot of freedom to work, okay, you can, you know, just take it straight. Instead of coming in, take your hip measurements and insert it here, so that from there you start your flare. Okay, but and also if you want if it's someone that doesn't really mind really fitted one, you want the flare to really come out, you can even come in more than, maybe a little bit more than what you have at the waistline. But here I'm just going to be inserting my waist measurement, which is 2 inches 3/8. 2 inches 3/8. Okay, now I'm going to connect the lines. I'm just using a straight ruler to connect. Okay, so this case is going to have 1 inch band. But if you want a bandless skirt, you can take your full length, and you know, you don't put a band, as in you don't remove that 1 inch. Okay, now from this point, now I'm going to connect to the edge of the skirt. So in drafting this, if you have enough fabric, you can make this as wide as you want to. You can put 10 inches on both sides, but I'm just using like 6 inches. So if I take this one all the way down, and I measure, I have like let me see, I don't want this to, I'm just going to use a pencil to draw it down, to draw the line down, just so that you have an idea of how much fullness I'm having. So I have like 6 1/4. Okay, I have, yeah, 6 1/4. So I'm having 6 1/4 on both sides, so that when I add all this together, my the flare is like 17 inches. Remember, we made a rectangle with that measurement. So if you want it wider, that means your rectangle will have maybe 20 inches here, depending on how wide you want the hem to be. Okay, so the hem of your skirt will determine the width of your triangle, but just make sure that you find the center point of whatever width that you have chosen. So we're going to connect this. Okay. Just connect to the edge. Okay, now I'm going to measure from this point that I started the flare from to the edge here, to the hem. So I have like 19 1/2. Then I'll measure all these two lines also, making sure that I have 19 1/2. So I'll mark where the 19 1/2 stop, because if you don't do that, it will not be balanced. Okay, then you take your curved ruler, the hip curve will do, and use it to connect from that 19 1/2 mark to the center point here. Okay, this is very, very important, otherwise your skirt will not hang well. Now the last thing I'm going to do is to correct these angles. Make sure that they're not just sharp angles like this. Okay, just making sure they're not sharp, and here also. Alright, so we have our pieces. So you're going to cut 6. Let me cut it out before I start talking. It's easier. There are different ways of making your pieces skirts or panel skirts, but I believe this is easier because you don't have to calculate too much and be wondering if you've added enough allowance or not. And now you can, before cutting out your fabric, you can actually calculate how much fabric you're going to need. I'm going to show you how you can have an estimate of the fabric you need, so you have an idea of how much fabric you're going to use. So this is your panel. Now, if you want to cut for the back, we're going to cut 5 of this. Then the 6th one will be for the center back. So I'm going to fold it this way because there's going to be a zipper at the back. But if you don't want to go through this process, you can as well put your zipper on the side. So you just add your zipper allowance on the side. But let's just do it this way. So you're going to fold it like this. When you want to cut the back, I'm going to place it on another piece of paper, matching up all the points. I still have my lines on this paper. If you don't have, just extend it. I'm just going to tape it. You can, cut another pattern for the back separately, but for me, this would have to do. Okay, so now I'm going to measure the zipper length, which is 8 inches. So my zipper will come down. The zipper is usually 8 inches, and you want to make your allowance to be like maybe ½ inch more than the zipper length. So here, 8½. So I'm going to extend it at that point by 3/4 of an inch, which is the zipper extension. Take it off. Okay. Remember that now there was going to be a joining at this back, so we have to add ½ inch seam for the joining. So you measure that ½ inch seam, ½ inch, all the way down here. So when you cut, just going to cut this off here, you cut your 3/4 of an inch for the zipper allowance. And then when you get to the ½ inch seam allowance, you just curve it towards that part. You have your ½ inch seam. Remember that I'm just using this as an example. So you can draft a whole new pattern. So this is how the back part is going to be, because you have to put your zipper allowance. And then if you want a tail at the back here, the same place where you started the flare from, at this point, you're just going to, use the tail. But maybe that's not for another class. Let's just stay with what we have here, which is a simple 6-piece skirt or 6-panel skirt. Before you cut out your final panel, there are a few things that few adjustments you need to make, as in before you start cutting out your fabric. I've spoken about the back, how you should adjust it. Ideally, what you should do, because all these panels are not identical, the side panels are the same, the front panel there's a slight difference, and then the back panel, I've shown you the difference. So actually you should have like 3 different kind of panels. Okay, but I'm just going to explain here. I'm not going to be drafting the remaining panel because the adjustment is just so little. Okay, now the adjustment we're going to make here, now let's assume, first of all, let's talk about the side panels. There's going to be 4 side panels if you are making a 6-panel skirt. Even if you are making an 8-panel skirt, there's still going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 panel sides, as in the side panel. So for the side panel, this curved edge here, you can see that we have a curved edge here, we have a curved edge here, like what we have like hip area. Okay, so for the front side panel, one side of this curved edge is going to be straightened out. So we're going to use the other side. This is going to be the side. So this side that will be attached to the front part of the skirt will be straightened out, because there's no really any contour in the front. So if you leave it this way, you have a slight bulge. So you just have to slightly straighten it out, like maybe with 1/4 of an inch. So it's very, very slight. So if you are a very careful person, you can use this panel to cut your fabric. You just note how you're going to to restore the excess, to fit back what you've taken out. Am I making sense? What I'm trying to say is that, one, you can go ahead and retract this. So you redraw this now and make it the front panel. You cut 2 of it. For the back panel, you can still maintain this curve, because the slight curve of the bolt will absorb this excess, but in the front it's going to hang loose. Okay, and then for the front panel itself, we'll take out these 2 excesses. So when you are drafting your panel, you should take that into consideration. Remember, I think I forgot to tell you that when you are calculating for the hip and the waist, for the hip you had like 2 inches to 3 inches of ease. I suggest you use 3 inches to be on the safe side, so that it's better for you to be too much than too little. Okay, use 3 inches so that there will be ease, and then maybe that 1 inch will help you recover all this that you are shaping out. And then at the waist area, add 2 inches ease. Then what I'm saying is, this pattern now that I drafted, the waist is 26.5. You will recall that we used 28.5. That means I've added 2 inches for ease. I've added it to the pattern. And then the bust, the hip is 37. So, and I use 40 inches while drafting. That means I've added 3 inches of ease. You had it before you divide it into the number of panels you want to use. So when you get the value, that will be the value for this. For instance, we're making 6 panel skirts. If you divide 40 by 6, the value you get will be the distance from this point to this point. So when you draw your straight line to get what you have on each side, you further divide that value into 2. I know I've said it before, I'm just reiterating it so that you get it. So that's how the little adjustment you need to make to your panels to have the best results. Again, trim out. For the front panel, we're going to trim out this bulge so that we make it straight at this hip area, so that you don't have excess. That's for the front panel. For the front side panel, you take in one side, the side that will be joined to the front. Okay, and so that's just it. Then we can go ahead and cut out our patterns, our fabric. But if you know that you're going to forget or you'll be confused, you can go ahead and cut separate patterns. Or another thing is to go ahead, the excess is so minimal that when you go ahead and stitch, you now use your machine to trim it out. Instead of following the curved line, when you are joining the front panel, you just make a straight stitch to absorb that excess. Any way you do it, by the time you get to fitting, you realize the need to take out that part. So let's cut out the fabric. Alright, so cut out all the pieces. This class is basically about drafting the pattern, the panel. I just want to say a few more things. I cut out my pieces using my pattern, and you can see the back. I added an extension, and is 2 pieces for the back, so we're going to join it. Remember to add your seam allowances, please. When you have seam allowance to all these edges and the other side, otherwise you will be short. Okay, so this will come, the back will come in the middle with 2 pieces on each side. 3 pieces will form the front. Then you join it together. Add your band. The normal way you add your skirt, cut your lining piece, and your skirt is ready. So that is all for today's class. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any subsequent videos. Also, I would like to see your practice, or share with me on our Facebook group, the Inspired Design School of Fashion. Then you can ask your questions. Let me know what you think about the class and all the previous classes. Alright, till next week when we meet again, be inspired. Bye.